But you stay on hard.
All right. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another live episode of the BCSN Sports Wrap. It's been a long time since A.D, Drew, and I have been able to do this show together. So
it's been a long time since either one of us have been able to do the show. It seems like.
Yeah, man. It's been a wild couple of months here in 2025. But hey, guess what, Drew? It's our favorite time of season as basketball guys, basketball coaches. It's March Madness, which you know what that means, Drew.
There are a lot of anxious alumni bases and fan bases. There are just as anxious basketball players. And I hate to say this, Brian. There are coaches who are coaching for, number one, they're coaching for their life because a poor showing in the performance will lead to alumni chatter, athletic director chatter, president's chatter, etc., etc. And B, on the flip side, there are coaches coaching for their next opportunity because a successful run in their conference tournament could open up opportunities for them at another institution.
Jobs? Are you talking about jobs? I was just talking about being able to hear one shining moment. Drew, you're talking about jobs.
I'm talking about reality, man. I'm talking about reality. Look, the good thing about this time of year, Brian, there's going to be a player somewhere on some team that you and I have never heard of and never really paid attention to as we've been combing through these stats since November, going through the box scores and the videos since November, who's going to have that moment. And for that player, this is the most exciting time of the year. But there's also that finite reality. There's a senior somewhere, there are multiple seniors somewhere, who this will be their last organized basketball game ever. And Brian, last thing, you know how on TNT inside the NBA, they always have the gone fishing?
Uh-huh.
I think appropriately we need to have the spring break, packing for spring break should be our thing.
Packing for spring break. Well, it's nice to say that and think that, Drew. They're unfortunately, look, we'll get into it. I was gonna get in trouble already, starting some mess, but I'm not. So, but yes, March Madness does bring. It's funny, Drew, because we put so much time and effort and energy into the football season. The football season really kind of runs from August all the way until January. Really, if you think about it, maybe within the HBCU diaspora, it ends in December.
You're wrong.
But I'm wrong?
Yes.
Okay, school me. Where am I wrong?
When does football stop? Because you've got the champion celebration bowl, everything, which leads us to the Christmas pause. Except, Brian, that's when we're talking about what coach is going where. And nowadays, what player is hitting the portal?
Transferring, yeah.
Exactly. Then when you come back from that in January, what we talking about? Recruiting class, signing days.
Recruiting classes, yeah.
Okay. Then after you get the recruiting class and everything, now we focusing on the Legacy Bowl and can we get any of our players drafted?
Yeah.
We just got through the Legacy Bowl. What's next up?
Spring practice. Spring practice. Yeah. Spring practices. They've already started for some schools.
When is your spring game? You know, everybody's excited. Game. When is your spring game? And then after you get through your spring game, all right, coach, we need a quarterback. We need a running back. We need a defensive lineman. We need an offensive lineman. After you get done with your spring game, and what you gonna go pick up in the summer portal? And then next thing you know, Brian, hell, it's media day.
All right. Wow. Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. So all right. So football is the sport that never sleeps. So somehow
thanks, Doc.
We try to exactly. Sometimes we'll try to find some time to talk basketball. This is the month for basketball lovers. I think
and poor baseball and softball, Brian.
Oh man, yeah. It's trying to find ways to get it all in. Props to whatever show and I don't know. Sometimes we've talked about trying to find more sports specific centric shows that can really go deep diving into those sports. But right now I don't think that's out there at the level that it could be.
Can I add one more football, Brian?
Sure.
Now that we've got the spring league, how many of our HBCU players are we going to be following in the spring league? I mean,
yeah.
We follow them in the league, so why not follow them in the spring league?
Yeah, look, I mean, how many? I don't know how many did we really have in this past spring.
We had about as many as we had in the NFL. So,
no, I think we had less, half the number.
I mean, we may have 10 in the NFL,
right?
Dozen in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's move. That's all right. I set this up. Hello to everybody that's coming in and checking in. to everybody that's come in. Good to see you, Lennon, Dr. Cavill, Israel, Rob Brown, Chuck Hunt, Derek Williams, Mary 305, Jimmy Mack. Just a few of the people who've gotten in early in the chats. Want to encourage you guys to come on in. MyJBN Online is on YouTube. Also, we're on Facebook, Black College Sports Network on Facebook, BCSN SportsWrap on Facebook. You may be watching us on Instagram Live. You might be watching us on X, also known as Twitter. And we say hello and salute to you. But if you want to come on over into the chats are available on Facebook and YouTube. And then, I can make sure to pull up your comments. So we got a lot to talk about. We got some champions being crowned at the Division-II and NAIA level, men and women's. We've got a tournament that's happening right now. We've got some teams that got knocked out a little earlier than expected in the NAIA and Division-II tournaments. And then we've got the Division-I, MEAC, SWAC, CAA, OVC, those schools that are in those that are about another week, one more week left in the season, and then they move into their conference tournaments as well. So we got plenty to go from there. Before we get going, Drew, I know we were a little long there in the opening, but I'd be remiss and ask, how was your night last night?
Let's start with my morning. You know that obviously we know the SIAC tournament began under a new format with teams playing opening round games on campus sites. Now here's the fun part, Brian. Due to a scheduling conflict of an event that's been on the books for about 6 months in our basketball arena, scheduled for yesterday, And since Morehouse had the unfortunate spot of not getting the bye, because the bye only went to the top seed in the SIAC East and the top seed in the SIAC West. Shout out to their school down the street on ASM, and to Miles College for getting those two #1 seeds. And they did the double, got the #1 seed on the men and women. But I digress. So, Bryan, we had to play a college basketball game at 10 a.m. in the morning. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. You know, and everybody to a man was like, the players like, we haven't done this since AAU ball.
All right.
And we get into that game later. But the event that was going on campus, Bryan, was a charity wrestling match.
Wrestling match.
Not wrestling, wrestling.
Wrestling match.
Yes. So, you know, and Bryan, I stayed and worked that event, and I'm not gonna lie to you, my first time in my life period that I've actually been to any type of wrestling event.
You've never been to like a WWE,
not even a little
event?
Back when NWA and when you had all the regional wrestling companies and everything, never went to until last night.
Oh, okay. So how was it from an entertainment perspective, and how was the crowd?
Well, the crowd was average at best, but the entertainment value, because let's be real, Bryan, we know it is what it is when it comes to wrestling, right? If you know, you know. Everybody knows, right? But just the way that, first of all, the athleticism of these wrestlers, because you know they hitting that mat, they got the high leg kicks and jumping off the ropes and all that stuff. That's real, bro. Mm-hmm. That is real. So just the athleticism of what these wrestlers were doing, and I had the chance I worked as a cameraman on this event yesterday. Haven't worked the camera on the production probably over a year. And by the way, the rest of the event was streamed right here on the Black College Sports Network and on Jericho Broadcast Network, who lucked into this yesterday because obviously Black College Sports Network is the production company that produces Morehouse basketball games on the Blue Tiger Sports Network. So a conversation post game led to, hey, come back and work this game, come back and stream this tonight. So yeah, you can go to MyJBN online after you get done listening to us and actually watch this production. So, but that's how I spent my night last night, Bryan. From I got to the office at 6:30 in the morning and left about 11:30 last night.
I saw, well, when Roy texted me about that, I had no idea what he was talking about when he said, "Yo, check out this wrestling." And I was like, huh? I was like, I'm busy watching basketball. I got basketball on the big screen. I got basketball on the laptop. I'm checking some other stuff on my phone. And he's like, wrestling. I'm like, what are you talking about, wrestling? And then I thought he was talking about some WWE type stuff, because I think they did have a match going on last night. But no, he was talking about that event that you're at. So yeah. All right.
It was fun though, Bryan. I enjoyed myself.
All right. I'm gonna go back and check it out. Go check it out. It's right there. All right, but let's get into some of this basketball. See, Lawrence, Lawrence is checking out. I spent about 10 minutes in the bed looking at WWE on Twitter or X to catch up on all of that stuff from last night. That was pretty good. I didn't know they were letting folks cuss the way they were letting them cuss though. I'm just gonna put that out there.
And one last thing, you got the storylines. And of course, one of the storylines that was out there yesterday was Morehouse was the second best HBCU.
That's a story. What storyline was that? What are you talking about?
Wait, I'll just get to it. That was debatable. This is between the wrestlers.
I got you. Okay.
So that's debatable until the wrestler said that the #1 HBCU was the school down the street from us. The crowd reaction for that was not good.
Well, that's how you get the crowd involved. That's how you
And
know your
last
audience.
thing,
Know your audience.
that is the first time that I think I've ever been on the HBCU campus where the non-African American was the hero and the African American was the villain, and the African American got booed on the HBCU campus in one of the matches.
All right. Now I'm intrigued. See, if I should have gone to you to get me the setup to get me interested in this, so now I got to go and check this out.
Yeah, go check it out, child. It was entertaining.
I will check it out. MyJBN online is where you can find it on YouTube. It's right there for you to check out. All right, let's catch up because there's a lot of games. We got a lot of catch up to do, a lot of recaps to do, and a lot of looking ahead to do as well. Let's start with the CIAA taking place in Baltimore. The men and women's championship games on Saturday afternoon, broadcast on ESPN Plus. Now, you almost had a Fayetteville State versus Virginia State double-double. That's what was very close to happening after the first three games on Friday night. You had Fayetteville State's women advancing to the championship game, Virginia State's women advancing to the championship game. Then you had Virginia State's men advancing to the championship game. And then I think it was the last game of the night was Fayetteville State men versus Bluefield State men. That's what the last game of the night was on Friday night. And now Bluefield was a heck of a story because I think Bluefield was preseason predicted last.
And I believe they about finished last too, if they did.
About finished last where?
In the CIAA on the men's side.
No way.
Yeah, they were like the number one scoring team in the CIAA, but their defense also gave up the most points in the CIAA.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. Let me see. I was trying to find the brackets here. Let me see. Men's bracket. Let me take a peek here. You might be right about that. No, Bluefield State was the 2 seed from the North Division. Yeah, Bluefield State was the 2 seed from the North Division. So, yeah. But anyway, Bluefield State ended up knocking off Fayetteville State, who, let me go and look here. I had it pulled up just a second ago. And this was the last game of the night. Okay, again, 8 p.m. Fayetteville State was the 1 seed from the South, ended up losing that game to Bluefield State, who was a 2 seed. So you end up having a North Division matchup between Virginia State and Bluefield State, right? So I think that it came very close. I was listening to, I don't know how many times in CIAA history you've had 2 schools playing in both the men and women's, but I don't think it happens often. Okay, so don't jump on me. I don't have my CIAA history. All I do know is the 50th year for the women in the CIAA tournament. Okay, I do know that was a big feature. So in the first game, Fayetteville State versus Virginia State, the defending champs are Fayetteville State. And they ended up taking care of business in the opening round. Pretty much controlled that game, especially in the first half. Jumped on Virginia State in the first half, thanks in part to a 21-9 second quarter. Had a 32-17 lead at the half. Virginia State cut the gap a little bit after the end of the third quarter, thanks in part to a 22-19 quarter. And even challenged a little bit late in the fourth, but it wasn't enough as Fayetteville State closed with a 64-56 victory, their second. They are 21-7 overall. 13-3 was their record in conference. In that game, they were led by Kiana McLaughlin and Talia Trotter. Each had 15 points. McLaughlin ended up being the Food Line MVP of the game, but it was junior NAIA Wilkins who earned the CIAA tournament MVP for Fayetteville State. She averaged 9 points, 6.7 rebounds over the 3 games. but she had 12, 6, and 2 steals against Bluefield in the championship. She also had a double-double in the semis against Virginia Union. Wilkins and McLaughlin both named to the all-tournament team. So that's Fayetteville State getting it done again. And remember, Drew, that Fayetteville State last year was right on the edge of going to wasn't it the Elite Eight last year in the NCAA Women's Division-II tournament?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, right
yeah,
there.
They made it to the regional. No, they made it to the last round before the they made it to the 16. Yeah, they made it to the 16 last year.
Right. Okay. Over on the men's side of the bracket, it would actually be, now this was actually an entertaining, fun game. This is one of those games that I had the chance to watch, right? Bluefield State had a 5-point lead with about 5 minutes to go on Virginia State. And Virginia State just put together what was an impressive run, Drew. I don't know officially what the run was, but I think it was close to a 12 to, I don't know, let me see, 5, 7. It was a heck of a run. I see Lennon kind of posted it here a little bit. The last 5 minutes, they closed them out. I don't know exactly what the final run was. Lennon, if you recall what the run was at the end, but I felt like it was like a 12-2 run. Maybe even a 15-2 run after that point, but pretty much shut Bluefield State down, controlled that ball game down the stretch. I'm just kind of looking here as I'm scrolling through Virginia State site to kind of see if they mention what the run was. They really don't. Final score ended up being 71-64. Virginia State, I believe it's their first CIAA title since 2019, I think it was. So, yeah. But all in all, a good, entertaining ball game, to say the least. Now, one of the things that I was curious about, Drew, and, I brought this up in the past with the CIAA, and, I don't know, people always kind of scoff when I do it. What was the attendance numbers like for that tournament, for that game?
I'm waiting on those numbers to come out. I was just going to ask the question. What were the numbers for the tournament this year?
Because I'm going to tell you.
Third or fourth year in Baltimore?
This is I think the third year. Let's see. I'm doing a quick search to see. But I will say this.
They probably won't release those until early next week.
I don't think they're releasing them at all, Drew, because I'm going to tell you, I saw a picture from the videos from, they go to one of those wide angle shots coming out of timeouts or, in a dead ball break. And they showed a crowd shot. And I saw from that camera angle, I saw a lot of empty seats in the upper deck. So I don't know if they had cut off the upper deck or not. And then even in the lower deck, in some of the corners, I saw a lot of empty seats. So I would love to know. I meant to text Stephen Gaither earlier, but didn't get a chance to. But I'm very curious about what the attendance numbers were. And I only bring that up, Drew, because I know that I read an article, matter of fact, on game day, that there's a strong push, not only by Charlotte, but some other cities wanting to get the CIAA tournament back down south. But there also seems to be a strong push by Baltimore to keep it in the area. I don't know. I don't know if you did you have a chance to read any of that article or see that?
No, but I've heard some of the chatter about the CIAA tournament. I do know there are multiple cities that are putting in their 2 cents for it. And trust me, it's a lot more than 2 cents that they're going to need to put in to get the CIAA tournament. But, any city would be happy to share in that type of opportunity. realistically, I think it does better if it's in the Carolina area. You know, I think maybe Greenville, North Carolina, or is it Greensboro, North Carolina? Greenville, South. It's Greensboro, North Carolina, and Greenville,
Greensboro,
South.
North Carolina, right?
Yeah, but I think Greensboro may be one of those cities that's bidding for it. Maybe a spot in Virginia. So who knows who's making a push for it? But we do have history and proof of concept in Charlotte. 15 years worth in Charlotte. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And hey, Bryan, Atlanta is hosting 2 tournaments back-to-back weeks. Could you see the CIAA possibly being in the scope back-to-back, followed by the
Ooh, wow, that's interesting. That is interesting. But you know, the only
I think the BAC would benefit more.
The history is there for the CIAA, but the problem is you don't have any schools from the Tidewater anymore in playing. You know, Norfolk State, Virginia, Hampton, who are former CIAA schools. They they have a deep history.
But you got Virginia State, you've got Virginia Union, and you've got Bowie State, who's in that general area also.
Yeah. I do and yes, EA, you know, look.
And hold on, one more. You got Elizabeth City, who's closer to Virginia than any other school in North Carolina.
Yeah. Look, let me cut off a couple things here. 1 second here. EA trying to troll me here. Look, my father is a graduate of Virginia State, EA. So I do even despite the news of them winning a championship and other stuff, which I know you're hinting at. I do have an affinity for Virginia State. But I just took a quick peek at this article from Stephen Gaither on HBCU Game Day from Thursday. CIAA tournament, Charlotte will likely face heavy competition. His article points out that Charlotte is positioning itself as a contender to bring the CIAA back to the Queen City, but meeting the HBCU conference's hotel and hospitality requirements will be a critical factor in securing the bid. There are other cities in competition, he reports, including Baltimore, Raleigh, Washington, D.C., and he says that Charlotte must demonstrate its ability to provide affordable lodging and a welcoming experience. Now, some of those measures that the CIAA has put in place, according to the article, they state that any selected city must secure headquarters hotels that can accommodate 500 rooms for CIAA staff, sponsors, and media at a rate not exceeding $200 per night. Additionally, each participating school requires 25 rooms near the venue of competition, with rates set between $99 and $125 per night. The bid also calls for really? You can't even let me finish. Hold on. You stupid. The bid also calls for a fan hotel package capping nightly rates at $225. These requirements aim to ensure the CIAA tournament attendees, including students, alumni, and fans, can enjoy a high-quality experience without excessive cost. What caught you there? What had you all choked up in that, Drew?
I mean, the team rate of 99 to 125.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because of the volume, because you're talking about 25 rooms times, what is it, 13 teams in the CIAA? So that's 325 room nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you get, but it definitely won't be on the 99 side of that bid. But even at 125, that is a tough sell in a lot of cities. Now, if you would have said 149 or 150, that's a little bit more realistic on what these teams are going to.
But wouldn't it wouldn't it already stand to reason that if they're putting that out there, that means they're already getting something comparable to that from Baltimore right now? Wouldn't that be a safe assumption?
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that's why Baltimore they're looking to move on for Baltimore.
I don't know that they're looking to move on from Baltimore. I just think they're playing the money game. They realize that, I mean, the tournament, of course, as you mentioned, was in Charlotte from 2006 to 2020, generated an estimated $600 million in economic impact. They moved to Baltimore in 2021 amid concerns about declining attendance and accusations of hotel price gouging. So that's what was out there.
But let's think back. 2021, we were coming out of COVID, so people had this concept of making up for that lost revenue. So it's gonna be interesting to see how close they get to those bid specs.
He noted here that other cities invited to bid for the prestigious tournament include Raleigh, Greensboro, who you mentioned, Richmond, Virginia, interesting, Philadelphia, Columbia, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, and mentioned previously DC and Charleston, South Carolina.
So can I eliminate a couple of those cities?
Sure.
I don't know if Savannah has they do have the arena. I don't know if they have the hotel capacity, what they're seeking. Although Savannah did host the SIAC for 2 seasons. What other was Columbia, I would think would be in that same boat as far as hotel capacity. Although they do have the University of South Carolina there. I would be curious as to see what venue they would do. Would you actually take your conference on the Division-I's campus? I believe that's going to be the biggest arena that you have in Columbia, South Carolina. We know Greensboro has the venue. Greensboro can do it because Greensboro has hosted NCAA events at that level. What were some of those other cities you had mentioned, Bryan? Richmond, don't know enough about Richmond one way or the other.
Those other cities in the article mentioned.
Philly, I would be concerned about what venue they would use in Philly. We know Philly definitely would have the hotel space, but what would the venue look like?
Would you have to get the Spectrum? Wouldn't it be the Spectrum Center?
You talking about the original? Is the original Spectrum still around?
That's a good question. I don't know. And I only say that because I know I was watching a bit of the Sixers Warriors game last night, and they were using the court. Who said the Spectrum? I don't know. So I don't even know if that arena still is around. You got me.
But then when you get to larger cities probably like they have to deal with in Baltimore and in Philly, transportation and moving around the city becomes an issue.
All right.
The Georgia.
I don't know where Pooler, Georgia. I don't know if that connected.
Savannah has a first-class arena that they just opened. That's where they had the SIAC championship game at last year. They do have a first-class arena. I would be more concerned about everything else. Plus, let's be real, Bryan. Savannah, Georgia is not an easy city to get to.
No, it's not. No, I've been there. We've been there a couple times.
I could drive straight down 95.
Yeah.
But flying in is a challenge.
I'm sitting here. I'm trying to bump around and find a couple articles to tell me, because this is the 3rd year. Let me see. 21. No, this is the 3rd year that it's been in Baltimore. So I don't know. I'm trying to find an article that says how long. Oh, Baltimore's contract through the CIA runs through 2026. So there's at least 2 more years in Baltimore.
1 more year.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right. Through 26, that would be next season. Okay, so next season. It looks like they're going to begin the selection bidding process with site visits in April and May, according to Steve's article, followed by presentations in June with a final decision expected later this summer. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I know Steve also had a follow-up article. I thought I saw a follow-up article he had with maybe the mayor of Baltimore. So,
African American mayor. We
Yeah.
know the challenge that he had with the bridge collapsing last year due to that barge accident. Can't remember his name, but But while we're on the CIAA, Brian, of course we've got the sad news related to the CIAA, and that being the passing of Grammy Award songwriter and singer Angie Stone.
Yeah,
So,
I just pulled up the article from Game Day
off of WSFA.com, which is the local TV station in Montgomery, Alabama. Which she perished.
Well, go ahead. Since you got it pulled up, what do you got? Go ahead.
Yeah, and this has a lot of the corrections to some of the earlier reports that we started hearing on yesterday. But the accident occurred around 4:25 a.m. on I-65. Stone was heading from what is called, the Grand Marshal's Ball at Mardi Gras in Mobile, and was heading to the CIAA tournament when her vehicle was initially involved in a single vehicle accident, and then was involved in a accident with a commercial vehicle. Yeah, a commercial vehicle. So we're gonna assume that there may be like an 18-wheeler at this point. So very tragic. There were 9 people in the Sprinter vehicle, and unfortunately, Miss Stone was the only one who perished in the accident. Everybody else was taken to Baptist Hospital, which is a level 1 trauma center in Montgomery, Alabama. And she had just performed Friday night in the 2025 Grand Marshal's Ball. And they said she gave the performance of her lifetime.
Wow. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she was even scheduled to be at the CIAA on Saturday performing.
So
I'm reading the article here from Game Day. Stone had confirmed she'd be in Baltimore when she had last spoke to her publicist. So she definitely was en route to Baltimore. Very, very sad, very tragic news. I think I don't know what the total #1 hits, or you mentioned some Grammy Awards and things of that nature by Stone, who's born December 18th, 1961 in Columbia, South Carolina.
Angela Laverne Brown.
Yeah.
Her birth name.
Yeah. On the heels of losing Roberta Flack earlier in the week.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very sad news. Just keep Stone family, and I think it's a great time. She's got a great catalog too. I think Angie Stone's got a great catalog of music. So I would encourage everyone to say a prayer, keep her family, and keep her music alive. I think that's the best thing we can do this week and moving forward, is continue to play her music and play her catalog. And any other thoughts or words you want to add there, Drew?
I wonder how much Angela Stone we're going to hear in the SIAC tournament next week. Just, and the reason I say that, I
hope a lot.
As
well as the MEAC and SWAC tournament.
When Frankie Beverly passed in the middle of football season, the next weekend you heard bands playing some sort of Frankie Beverly song.
Yes.
Happy Feelings or something. They were playing that with. So just curious.
All right. We're going to close out with just a final moment of silence for Angie Stone, and we'll come back with some information. We finally have a winner in the women's bracket for the HBCU AC. We'll tell you who that is, and we'll also celebrate another NAIA women's basketball team that won their tournament as well. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Stay tuned, and we'll be back in a moment.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, A.D, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew here. Want to encourage everybody who, if you are a podcast listener, go check out the BCSN Pod Zone. That's BCSN Pod Zone. All of the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Network. Our show, the Carlos Brown Show, which was yesterday. Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, which airs episodes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The ONG Strike Zone, which airs Wednesday night. All of those shows are available in podcast format on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to podcasts. Just search BCSN Pod Zone. You would do us a great, big, huge favor if you went ahead, downloaded, subscribed, rate, review, add it to your rotation. We'd greatly appreciate it. All helps the algorithms if you get it, if you favorite it, you follow it, and all that other good stuff. So thank you for that. Okay. Before we get into the fresh breaking news from out of the HBCU AC, let's give some love to a friend of the program, Drew, who we have known for a few different stops in his coaching career, and that is Coach Kevin Harrod, who we first got to know Coach when he was at Talladega doing his thing there, being successful, winning at Talladega. Then we saw him go over to Langston University, and he was doing well, successful over there. And then what do you know? He popped up on the radar right here south of me, down in South Florida, over at Florida Memorial, and all he has done is won. All he does is win. And last night, the Florida Memorial University Lady Lions won the Sun Conference tournament. This is on the heels of winning the regular season. They won dominating fashion, 89-63. Of course, this is Coach's first year at Florida Memorial. And so the team right now will have a 23-4 record heading into the NAIA tournament. They even had the conference player of the year in Kamisha Moore. She had 14 points in the finale, 2 of 3 from the three-point arc, had 7 assists, 3 steals. Michaela Transu, I hope I said her name right, had 8 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. The star of the game, though, was senior Ebony Black-Smith. She finished with a team-high 23 points on 11 of 14 shooting, with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. Eliza Winston had 17 points. She was 4 of 8 from the arc as well. Blacksmith was named the conference tournament MVP. So shout out to Coach Harrod for doing it and doing it well. Everywhere he goes, he wins, Drew. Everywhere he goes, he wins. So what kind of seeding do you predict or think Florida Memorial might get on the women's bracket in the NAIA with a 23-4? And I was looking at the last ranking for them, the last final regular season ranking, I believe. I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't think they were even ranked in the last national women's rankings. Taking a look at it here. Let me see. I don't know. Drew, do you have any of that info pulled up? Is that any chance you're pulling that up, looking at that?
No, I was
No?
not,
Okay.
but I can.
I got it. I'm on the site right here. I'm looking at the final rankings to kind of see. So obviously the final rankings came out February 26th before the conference tournament start. Langston women are ranked 17th. Of course, they are in the semifinal of the Sooner Athletic Conference, which the semifinals for Langston are tomorrow, and the championship is on Tuesday. Also ranked Xavier. Xavier was ranked 22nd. Sadly, Xavier lost in the semifinals of the Red River Athletic Conference. They were the 2 seed in the tournament. They lost in the semifinals. And Florida Memorial was in the receiving votes. So who knows? Maybe they'll actually get enough votes and be a top 25. Maybe they'll get some shine in the top 25. We'll see. But hopefully they'll get a good favorable seeding. So shout out to Coach Harrod. But yeah, so I mentioned the HBCU AC and happening right now at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Drew. Let me see. Do I have HBCU brackets up? I do. Look at that. There's the HBCU AC women's bracket. Going into the regular season, at the conclusion of the regular season, Stillman Stillman women and Stillman men had won the regular season, and they were the 1 seed going into the tournament. But as you can see right there in the bracket, Stillman's women lost to Philander Smith yesterday. I think it was like 62-50, which set up that matchup against Wiley. Wiley, who was a 6 seed, knocked off a 3 seed, knocked off a 2 seed, couldn't quite knock off Philander Smith, who was a 4 seed. So yeah, the 4 seed Philander Smith actually just won. As those of you who might be watching HBCU League Pass Plus, that is happening right now, where they are celebrating their championship win over Wiley. I don't know the final score, but what I say the halftime score, Drew, was when they're like 12 or something like that at half.
Yes, it was 24-12.
Yeah. So congratulations to Philander Smith on winning the first ever women's HBCU AC tournament championship. That's right. It is the first year of the HBCU AC. So congratulations to them. Coming up also a little bit later, probably in about an hour. It was supposed to be 7, but given the time, it probably won't start until, I would guesstimate, 7:30 or 8. You'll have the men's tournament, which, as you can see right there, there's the men's bracket. Guess what? You've got Philander Smith, who I'm talking about have a good day last night. Philander Smith knocked off Stillman, not only on the women's bracket, but in the men's bracket. Philander Smith was a 5 seed in the men's bracket, and you can see they took out Talladega, took out the 1 seed Stillman on Stillman's home court. Of course, Stillman was hosting this tournament, knocked them out. They will take on Dillard. Dillard, who's had a run of beating a Wilberforce team who had knocked off Tougaloo. So it'll be interesting to see, can Dillard prevent Philander Smith from getting the double-double in the HBCU AC? So again, that even though it says scheduled for 7 o'clock, those of you, and that may be 7 o'clock Central. I don't know.
It would have to be.
I would imagine, maybe. Yeah.
Which is kind of late for a Sunday. You know something?
Well, I don't say that because there's another conference that's doing a late night championship game. We're going to talk about them in a moment, a little bit later.
Right. And if this was Saturday, I would know why they were doing it on Saturday. Because of Oakwood.
Why? What about
because Oakwood is a Seventh-day Adventist school, and from they can't do anything until after 6 o'clock on Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, challenging, but interesting. You work your way through it. Okay. Any other NAIA teams or news that we mentioned? Again, Langston's men in the semifinals of the Sooner Athletic Conference, as well as the women for Langston, both will be playing tomorrow in the semifinals. And let me see if I can just quickly pull up the time. Those of you who are interested, soonerathletic.org is the site. Usually those games are available streaming. It looks like Langston will play 8 o'clock. So that game will be at Langston. I don't know. I'm assuming, is the tournament being hosted at Langston? It does look like it. It looks like the tournament is being hosted at Langston. So tomorrow, the semifinals, Langston will take on Mid-American Christian, and the winner will take on the winner of Wayland Baptist and Nelson. And again, Nelson is the 1 seed. Langston is the 2 seed. Again, that's the men's draw. Again, over on the women's side of things, Langston women, they are the 1 seed. And that game will play tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon against the College of the Ozarks. The winner will take on Mid-American Christian and Wayland Baptist. So we'll see. Can Langston get the double-double on their home court? So make sure you tune in. Check out the Sooner Athletic Conference, SAC, or soonerathletic.org for more information. Of course, you can always go to Langston. I don't know if it's Langston Sports or Langston Athletics for more information. All right. Drew, you ready to move into the SIC and get people updated with what's happening in SIC?
Sure. Why not, Brian?
All right. So the SIC tournament, which is taking place in Atlanta beginning on Wednesday, right there at Forbes Arena on the campus of Morehouse College. The quarterfinals. Actually, you had the opening rounds, the quarters, or I'm sorry. How do they say it, Drew? The opening rounds of the SIC were on campus, correct?
Opening round, play-in game, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Open. Any major upsets or shocking news developments that came out of the opening games yesterday, from either the women or men's side?
I would say which side we want to start on, men or women.
Well, I've got the visuals for the women.
Okay, so we'll
queued up. So let's start with the women.
Let's start with the women then, and I'll just go run down everything. In bracket number 1, Clark Atlanta is the number 1 seed, and I think I said this earlier. Shout out to Clark Atlanta and Miles for doing the double with both their men and their women, totaling the number 1 seed. Clark Atlanta will move on to face Central State on Wednesday. That game will be at 2:00 Eastern. And Central State defeated Benedict by a score of 61-56 on yesterday. Here was one of the upsets. Number 6 Spring Hill defeated number 3 Edward Waters, Coach Eric Jackson Jr., friend of the program.
That's an upset. Definitely an upset.
Yeah, Edward Waters was number 3 in the East. Spring Hill was number 6 in the West. Eric Jackson Jr., obviously from his days at Russ College, friend of the program, went down in defeat in his first SIAC tournament. This game, don't let this score fool you, Brian. Number 2 West Tuskegee 73, number 7 East Albany State 53. You know why I tell you don't let this score fool you, Brian?
Please tell me, because I'm kind of looking at it like,
Yeah. And let me go to that box score on that one. Let's see. Of course, this is a link to the box score. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the box score because Albany State definitely had the lead at halftime. I don't remember what the score was at halftime. I'm pulling it up right now as we speak.
I'm gonna do the math. 34-25.
The score was tied at 16 after the first half. Albany State scored 18, double their Tuskegee up 18-9 in the second quarter, making the score 34-25 at the half. Tuskegee rebounded and doubled up Albany State in the third, 18-9. Kind of ironic that those scores were equal to 3 quarters.
Tie ball game after 3.
Tie ball game after 3. Score was 43-all after 3. And then the Golden Tigers opened up a can of whoop in the fourth quarter.
Did they?
And outscored Albany State by a score of 30-10 to make the final score 73-53. That's why I say don't let this final score fool you. Leading the way for Tuskegee was Eleni Cantone with 26 points. LaDeja Hughley she went to high school there in Tuskegee with 14 points, 6 rebounds. And Brittany Bolin with 12 points and 7 rebounds. And Cantone had a double-double there with 26 and 11, Brian. Also, Cyan Bobbitt also scored 10 points, had 3 rebounds for the Golden Tigers.
All right.
So, moving back into the bracket, So your top bracket. So the top half of your bracket on the women's side is Clark Atlanta, number 1 Clark Atlanta, number 1 East Clark Atlanta versus number 4 West Central State, number 6 West Spring Hill versus number 2 West Tuskegee. So in the top bracket, you got 3 of the 4 teams out of the West. In the bottom half of the bracket, Miles got the bye. They will be facing number 4 East Savannah State, who defeated Kentucky State by a score of 66-47. And going to that Savannah State box score. You would think I would have read the script and had these all pulled up, Brian.
You know, you would think.
I know, but when you haven't been here, you have to get back into the flow. But leading the way for Savannah State, Jaden Boykin with 17 points, 7 steals, Brian, and 5 rebounds. Jalea Harper, 12 points and 8 rebounds. Maya Bird with 9 points and 5 rebounds with a steal in the block for the Tigers of Savannah State. And coming off the bench was Belaja Jones with 11 and 8 for the Tigers. And to finish the bracket, Brian.
Yeah.
Look at this score. Hold on, I'm gonna come back to this score. LeMoyne Horn, number 7 West. Here's another one of those upsets. Defeated Allen, who was the number 2 seed in the East.
Mm.
And if you remember, Allen was on Clark Atlanta's tail for a long time, but they defeated them 78-70. And Brian, in the score of all scores, Brian, and I really had to pull this up just to make sure that this score was a legitimate score. Lane defeated Fort Valley in women's college basketball by a final score of 42-28. What year is this, Brian?
Hey, look, we've seen some Division-I games that low scoring. So don't get me started. Don't get me started on trying to talk about the inability to score.
70 points combined, Brian. 70 points combined.
Jesus. Well,
Anyway.
Fort Valley has the best defense in the conference. They allow the fewest points in the conference. The problem is they also score the second fewest points in the conference. So I mean that game went to script almost.
Brian, I'm going to take this. We're going to talk, and we're not going to harp on these young ladies. But Brian, there was only one player in double figures in the entire game. Both teams.
Yeah. What's she have in the game? 10 or 11?
10.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's about right.
Cantoria Rivers had 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on the day for the Lane College Dragons. Caitlin Knox had 8 points with a rebound. And Diane Burstein had a 5-and-5 day for Lane. I never got so thrilled about a 5-and-5 day, Brian. With 4 steals, though. She almost had a 5-5-5. Technically, she did have a 5-5-5, but we don't talk about where that last 5 came from.
Turnovers.
Say it again.
Turnovers.
Yeah, you said it, not me.
All right.
Leading the way for Fort Valley was Marley Bell with 9 points. Ayana Allen with 8 points. Let's see. Corey Barnes with 4 points. Kamori Wade with a point. And Ariana Booker with 6 points. If you're waiting for me to say anybody else from Fort Valley, you're going to be waiting until the 2025-26 season. That was it. That was the 28 points. Fort Valley on the day.
Oh my God.
Shot.
There's more?
7 of 31 from the field for 22.6%. 2 of 4 from the arc, 12 of 22 from the charity stripe, 54.5%. For the Dragons, 18 of 46, 39.1%. 3 of 14 from the Arc, 21.4%, and only 3 or 4 from the charity stripe.
All right. Enough. You're giving too much to a group of guys or a group of ladies who unfortunately aren't playing anymore.
Yeah.
I want
So then quick to go over bracket before we cover. In the bottom half of the bracket, this game will open the tournament up Thursday. Miles takes on Savannah State at 11 o'clock.
All right, let me stop right there because I want to talk about two games, that game, and then also the Clark Kentucky State game. So go through the bracket or just the schedule again, real quick.
Okay. Your Wednesday games will be Miles, Savannah State at 11 o'clock. And your 2 o'clock game will be Clark Atlanta at Central State. Thursday, your 11 o'clock game is Lemoyne versus Lane. And your 2 o'clock game is Spring Hill versus Tuskegee.
Okay. So wait a minute. Who I missed that. Who knocked out Kentucky State?
Savannah State.
Savannah State did. All right.
That was a 4-5 match, so that really wasn't a big upset. 4 or 5 could go either way.
Gotcha. Okay. So two matchups, which actually bring me, as I'm looking at team statistics and things of that nature, I'll start with that Savannah State Miles. From a scoring offense perspective, offense and defense, right? Savannah State actually has the lead or best margin of points scored, points allowed in the conference. As I'm looking at it here on the actual site, they score 68.1 a game, allow 59.3. That's a margin of 8.8. Miles is number 2, scoring 66.4 a game, allowing 58.4. Curious to say what we'll give. You got the two of the top 3 points allowed, and I'm going to just cross out Fort Valley State. I mean, we just mentioned that Fort Valley State may have had the best, that may have allowed the fewest points, but they couldn't score. They almost said something. They couldn't score. Okay, so they will just cancel them out. So number 2 Miles, number 3 Savannah State. That's going to be a rock fight, Drew. How about first team to 60? Maybe first team to 55 wins that ball game. That's how you're going to start the morning off in the CIAA. So that'll be interesting. And then the other game I think will be interesting is that Clark Atlanta Central State game from the standpoint of Clark Atlanta, the number 2 scoring offense in the conference, scoring 68.3, while Central State scores 68.1. So two teams who can score the ball. The problem is, Drew, the worst scoring defense, I mean points allowed, is Central State. Central State couldn't stop water out of faucet according to the numbers. They are 14th out of 14 teams, giving up 70.7 a game. I don't, that's going to be an interesting matchup. The Clark ladies, all they got to do is kind of walk across the street to play this contest. For Central State, it'll be interesting to see, can they score enough points and maybe get a few timely stops to have any say in that contest. But I think it'll be interesting to kind of see who won this last year. Was this Miles last year who won this?
Yes, Miles is the defending champion.
All right, Miles is the standard on the women's side. Miles, aka basketball school, just in case you needed to tell somebody. All right, so that's Wednesday. So again, the games begin Wednesday, correct? Wednesday and Thursday, is that correct?
Wednesday and Thursday will be the quarters.
All right. So 2 games from the women's side on Wednesdays, and then the other 2 will play on Thursday with Clark Atlanta. No, Miles had the overall best seed, right? So they get the Wednesday game.
Yeah, your number ones get your Wednesday games.
Oh, so they do it right with both ones getting the okay. I like that. Nice format. All right, let's go over to the men's side. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go over to the men's side. Top half of the bracket. There's the matchups that we got. Any upsets that occurred last night on the men's side?
On the men's side, Brian, are you serious? Yeah, that was now that you pretty much went chalk on the men's side. Yeah, men's side did go chalk, but there were some scares, Brian.
Okay.
All right. Clark Atlanta got the bye. We'll start off with Kentucky State, Edward Waters. That game actually was hosted at Edward Waters, if I do recall that correctly, instead of at Kentucky State.
Was it supposed to be at Kentucky State because it says Kentucky State? Okay,
maybe I'm looking at that backwards then. But Kentucky State won that game 108-87, and if memory serves me correct, despite everything we saw from Coach Cabrillo Huff down there at Edward Waters, they did lose 4 of their last 5 final games to end the season, including the first round of the tournament. So tough way to finish there for Edward Waters.
Yeah.
Also on the top half of the bracket, in double overtime, Brian, Albany State 105, Lane 102.
I know something about double overtime games, Drew.
Yeah, I do too. The game that would not end. And Tuskegee pretty handily defeated Benedict by a score of 82-69.
All right, so you get chalk 1, 2, 3, 4s over there on that half.
And we'll talk about the men's bracket and the controversy in just a moment.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the other side.
Oops, I hit the wrong button. Let me go back. I don't know what happened.
Well, I've got the results up here, so these are the matchups.
Yeah, but I somehow cleared off of the tournament page. Get back to it. I'm back on it. Also on the men's side, number 2 Morehouse in the breakfast and ball version of it. Like I said, we had to play that game at 10 o'clock in the morning due to scheduling conflict. Not since AAU, Brian, had those kids played at 10 o'clock in the morning, but they defeated Lemoyne 62-51. Central State, thank you, Central State, defeated Fort Valley 78-71. Savannah State took care of Spring Hill 79-74, and Miles had the bye. So you set up all chalk on the men's side, Brian. Your Thursday games, your 5 o'clock game is Miles at Savannah State, followed by Clark Atlanta at Kentucky State. And your Thursday games, your 5 o'clock game is Morehouse against Central State. And that game will be followed by Albany State and Tuskegee.
All right. Miles has been the standard this season.
Clark Atlanta is the defending conference champion. They defeated Miles in the championship game last year.
And did they play in the regular season?
Yes, and Miles won this year. Miles only has 1 loss in the SIAC, Brian.
Who was that loss to?
The House.
Oh, interesting. Makes for a potential interesting semifinal game on Friday. Of course, Morehouse has to take care of business against Central State. Miles has to take care of business against Savannah State, and that place will be lit on fire Friday.
And let me say something about the Miles-Savannah State matchup, Ryan.
Yeah.
The Miles-Savannah State matchup in this regular season occurred prior to Coach Broadnax resigning during the middle of the season. This is a different Savannah State team than what Miles defeated earlier this season.
Okay. I mean, are you hinting at a potential?
No, what I'm saying,
Miles,
you
what am I
really
missing?
you really can't judge off of what happened last time. So like when Miles goes back and look at film, it's going to be tough for them to go back and look at film of how they defeated them last time, because Savannah State's run is doing different stuff. Morehouse had the unfortunate thing of playing Savannah State the first game after the announcement. I believe Coach Broadnax announced on Monday, and we played them on Wednesday. Gotcha. And it was at that point in time we had film, but we didn't have film. You know, we could pick up player tendencies, but as far as what they were trying to do, things had changed.
Gotcha. Interesting stat to sort of make yourselves aware of going into this. Miles has the number one margin in terms of offense to defense, scoring 72.7 a game, allowing 60.5. That's a margin of 12.2, which is 4 times better than anyone else. Number 2 in the conference just happens to be who they are playing in their quarterfinal round, Savannah State, who has a 3-point margin, 65.7 points a game, allowing 62.7. So when we talk about what the numbers say, I mean, of course, this is March. This is a tournament. Anything's possible. But man, Miles comes in as an overwhelming favorite. I mean, Drew, if I had a line on this, I would say Miles minus 250 to win this conference.
Yeah, and what's sad, Brian, you would think Miles 23-3 overall, 19-1 in conference, would be a shoe-in for the NCAA tournament, win or lose the SIAC tournament. You know, you would all on paper, you would be like, okay, Miles really needs to lose the tournament in like the semifinals so that the SIAC can get 2 teams in. Right. Not so fast, my brother. Not so fast. Miles in the regional rankings is number 7.
Ooh.
Exactly.
No respect.
None whatsoever.
So do you think that Miles has to at least get to the championship game?
1 bid league. No, Miles has to win it. 1 bid league.
Wow.
If Miles was top 4, top 5 in the regional rankings, yes, SIAC might be able to sneak in the second team. Right now, SIAC is a 1 bid league.
That's tough.
So, also, you want to talk about another one that you might want to pay attention to, Brian?
Right.
LeVar Miller Jr. for Kentucky State against Clark Atlanta. Well, LeVar Miller Jr. is the number 2 scorer in the SIAC, averaging 19.2 points per game. And should he have a slight off day, Brian, where Azale Blackwell is the number 4 scorer in the SIAC and happens to play for Kentucky State at 17.7 points per game, Brian. So you've got 2 of the top 4 scorers in the conference on the same team.
So it sounds like you're telling me, Drew, don't mark that victory for Clark in pen in my bracket, in my SIAC bracket, right?
Especially, Brian, because of what happened last Monday.
All right. So let's quickly. I know we can't go too deep in the woods on it, but let's talk on it. And what Drew is referring to is the scuffle that happened between Clark and Benedict at Benedict on Monday. Correct.
Which ultimately led to players serving suspensions. Those range from 1 game to the remainder of the season, depending on the level of severity and participation in the exchanging of recipes, as we like to call it, Brian. The exchanging of recipes on the court.
Exchanging of recipes. I never heard it called that, but
Yeah.
I love that. The exchanging of recipes.
Yes, they were having a discussion about recipes on the court.
Yes. Whose mama makes a better cake? I got it.
But no, seriously, Brian, getting back to that,
Seriously.
and I have to take you back to what happened Monday night for me. Obviously, Morehouse on Monday went into knowing that there was an outside chance that we could win the SIAC East, and we needed some help.
Right.
We needed Clark Atlanta to lose both of their last games. We needed Albany State to lose one of their two last games. Although we were tied with Edward Waters at that point in time, Edward Waters was a non-factor as far as Morehouse winning the SIAC East. So there were 4 teams on Monday who had a legitimate chance to win the SIAC East, depending on how the bracket fell. Now, the one reason Morehouse was not worried about Edward Waters, Morehouse owned the tiebreaker over all 3 teams. We owned the tiebreaker over Clark Atlanta, over Albany State, and over Edward Waters. So I go, and that didn't matter if it was a 2-way tie, a 3-way tie, or a 4-way tie. Amongst those 4 teams, we owned the tiebreaker. So all we were trying to do was get to the top position. Well, obviously, I'm monitoring the games while we were playing. And then the Clark Atlanta game with 1:34 remaining in the first half, and they did not have a stream, so I'm looking at the live stats. The score is 40-18. And the score is 40-18 10 minutes later. The score is 40-18 30 minutes later. And if anybody who's followed the game on live stats knows, sometimes you have to hit the refresh button just to make sure that it's updated. So at this point in time, I'm thinking, okay, they've got some type of internet outage issue or something where the stats are not transmitting. So Morehouse takes care of business. Morehouse defeats Allen. Albany State and Edward Waters go down to the wire. Albany State pulls it out in Jacksonville. So we're not exactly happy because now we know Albany State has to lose their last game in order for us to have a chance. Then I get a video of the exchange of the recipes. You talked about the cooking utensils and how much sugar and everything else to put into the biscuits and the 2-piece. Because there was a 2-piece and the biscuits were exchanged.
Right. I got you.
So now the question becomes, what happens? Because the game did not get to halftime, and actually I was wrong in the rule. I thought the game had to get to halftime. Through the meetings, the game has to actually be 30 minutes complete in order for the contest to count. So at this point in time, it is officially a no contest. So from a Morehouse perspective, we're like, oh crap, that just killed us, because with Clark Atlanta having a game less than us, that means they have a half game advantage on us because they've played one less game. So at this point in time, we're thinking we cannot win the East. And after 2 days of all the speculation, because obviously there were meetings and different things that had to go on Tuesday, we get the official ruling on Wednesday. Well, it wasn't even official. We just got the word on Wednesday that the rankings will be determined by wins only, not winning percentage, nothing else. It will be determined by wins only, which gave us an outside chance should Allen defeat Clark of winning the East. We still need Albany State to lose also. Edward Waters by that point was behind us, so we weren't worried about Edward Waters. Edward Waters could not do anything could not win the East and could not catch us. So Albany State did lose. First thing that happened, Albany State lost. We win. Albany State loses. Now we're sitting right there pretty. We know we're number 2 at worst. We're number 2 because we're on the tiebreak over Albany State. Allen's not able to hold on the last 5 minutes. Clark Atlanta comes through and pulls it out. So Clark Atlanta winds up holding on to the number 1 seed. But that was a very intense 24 to 48 hours, not knowing what was going to happen, how many players each team was going to have left in order to compete, and whether Clark Atlanta had enough left, because I believe they played with only 6 players in that particular game, and 3 of those 6 players played 40 minutes, right?
Wow.
So, with 6 players, so it was decided. It was decided on the court. They won, so there's no debate about it. Nothing. They actually handled their business on the court, which left us in the number 2 seed. Left us as number 2 seed, but it was a contentious 48 hours of not knowing how things were going to play out.
Oh, I bet. And so I'm okay with the doing it by wins. I know that it is tough, but I think when you get them kind of situations, you got to go by wins, right?
Yeah, and it was the only fair thing to do at that point in time, because we have one. If Clark Atlanta loses that game, we have one more loss than they do, and should not have been penalized because they didn't play. They didn't finish that one game. And the other thing, Brian, with this, because this happened 3 days before the end of the season, there was no room to reschedule this particular ball game, which added another level of anxiety, urgentness, and just all kinds of crap to it, because there was no room to go back and play this game.
Gotcha. All right. Let's take a break, maybe our last break, and when we come back on the other side, let's catch up with what's happening on the Division-I level. They've got the final week of the regular season upcoming, and then conference tournament time begins in the SWAC, MEAC, the OVC, the CAA. And so we're going to find out what it looks like for all of those teams and talk a little bit about those upcoming tournaments. I think we got some interesting developments which may happen over the next pretty much everybody's going to have games Monday, probably Thursday, and Saturday. I think Saturday is the last day for most everybody. Maybe a Sunday. I got to look and see. Maybe somebody might be playing on Sunday, but we'll know regular season championships will be all decided. Nobody has claimed a regular season title just yet. Not so fast. No titles have been claimed just yet. They got real close, but not yet. So we'll talk about that on the other side. Plus, give a shout out to this track and field. We got a couple of track and field programs that did the first and are doing the first in their conferences. So I want to talk about those programs very quickly on the other side of this break. Who is that shirt? Who is that? Hold on, I got to enlarge my picture. Is that my man Fred?
Yes.
Fred Sanford. Fred
Hold on. Actually.
Oh Lord, now there's a whole. Oh God, there's a lot of people on that picture. Okay, so what's the parallel? What's the parallel? Black legends.
All black comedians who've passed. If you notice all those.
I got you. Okay, well there you go. Pryor. Hold on, who's that? Pryor. Who is that? That's who's that next to? Wait a minute. I don't even. Okay, so who? I see Bernie Mac. I see what's my man's name?
Robin Harris.
Robin Harris. Who's that? Oh, who's that in the front? Is that Charlie Murphy in the front?
Yeah.
And then who's that to the left of Charlie Murphy?
Now you got me thinking.
Oh my, come on! You can't wear the shirt and not know. Between Richard Pryor and Charlie Murphy, how is Richard Pryor off to the left and not in the middle? Yes, who is that? Oh, don't tell me you don't know. Don't tell me. Ooh.
But these are all comedians who've, are famous black comedians. We all know the greatness of these. And honestly, all of these come off the Red Fox tree.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Red Fox, who beget Richard Pryor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Real quick, non-sports story. Did you know the Oscars were happening tonight?
Did you know I don't care if the Oscars are happening tonight?
That's not what I asked you. I just asked if you knew if they were happening.
Of course
Obviously,
not.
you didn't because you don't care. All right. Let's take a quick break. Come back. Let's get into talking about the Division-I level and then close out the show. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We will be back in just a short moment.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Cover's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Cover's Voice, Cover's Voice, CoversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. here. I want to appreciate folks coming in. EA said your shirt is Ricky Harris. Ricky Harris. I'm sorry. Sadly, I'm not familiar with his work. Where might I be familiar with his work, EA? I'm just curious. Drew doesn't even know. He's got the shirt on. He doesn't even know. That's all right. That's all right, Edwin. You can just hit the thumbs up and the like button for coming in late. It's all good. It's all good. I encourage you to go back and listen to the show anytime you coming in late on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up and the like button on Facebook. You can also download the show on the BCSN Pod Zone platform, which you can always find on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google and Apple Podcast as well. I don't even think Google Podcast exists anymore, so I think it's just Apple Podcasts now. All right. Go ahead.
Ricky Harris appeared in movies such as Poetic Justice, Tales from the Hood, Heat, High School High, Father's Day, Hard Rain, let's see, Bones. So those are some of the Royal Family Holiday, Royal Family Christmas. I appeared on Moesha, CSI, NYPD Blue, CSI New York, Everybody Hates Chris, CSI Miami's. So he was even in Snoop's Gin and Juice video, and Murder Was the Case.
Murder was the case that they gave me. Okay. Guys, I want to take a second and recognize some first that happened in the track and field. Obviously, the SWAC had their indoor championships. Got a chance to watch that, enjoy that last Sunday. I think the MEAC had theirs earlier in the week. But I know hold on, let me pull it up here. This would have been last week, the 27th. What day was the 27th? Was that Friday? No, Thursday.
That was the BX. That was the
Thursday.
I thought that was BX. That was Thursday.
It's not who I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the CAA.
Okay.
Because
that was
the Coastal Athletic Association had their indoor track and field championships the 27th. And big shout out to,
It was 26 and 27. It was Wednesday.
26 and 27, right. Big shout out to the Hampton Lady Pirates, who won their first ever CAA championship for Hampton in the CAA indoor track championships. They took care of business there. That was at the Virginia Beach Sports Center. So sort of almost on home turf where Hampton took care of business. And then over on the men's side, North Carolina A&T won the first indoor championship in the CAA. We're very familiar with how strong and powerful North Carolina A&T's track program has been. This is their first, the men's indoor track and field. It's the first varsity program for the A&T Department of Athletics to win a CAA conference championship. So that is a historic first that occurred. Of course, A&T has been in the CAA for 3 years now?
2 or 3.
Yeah. The last time that the Aggies won a indoor conference title was when they won the MEAC back in 2020. They've been part of the CAA since 22. So congratulations to North Carolina A&T men and the Hampton women for representing for the culture in the CAA. And then, Drew, just breaking, I retweeted this out on the BCSN site. Lincoln University of Missouri just captured their track and field men's program, just captured the first ever championship in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. They just captured the men's track title in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Of course, that's a school of Midwestern schools. They previously were in the MIAA? Is that where they were?
Yeah. No, MIAA is Harris Stowe.
Oh, okay. Lincoln was in another division. They were in another conference, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot where. Yeah.
Same one with Truman State and all those directional schools from Missouri that you always hear about in football. Northeast Missouri, Northwest Missouri, Central Missouri, that conference.
Right. And Lincoln's track program has a very storied program. They are a 14-time NCAA Division-II national champion program. They had won the women's MIAA conference championship 12 times and previously had won.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was the MIA. That's what I thought. I'm just reading off their page. I thought it was the MIA. And they won the MIA conference 2 times previously, but more importantly, had been a 14-time Division-II national championship program. So a lot of history there at Lincoln University, and this is their first year moving over to the Great Lakes. And apparently, it was the 4x400 relay that secured a comeback victory for them. I guess they were trailing in the points, but did it on the heels of the 4x400 relay, and you can see the highlights of that retweeted out from MyBCSN.
Just wanted to add, Bryan. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and our state championships at that point in time were ran on their track, and I ran on their track. I'm not gonna date myself, but back when I was a junior and senior in high school.
Gotcha. It's all right.
Useless situation, but I just had to throw that in.
All right. Okay. Basketball over on the SWAC Division-I side. Yeah. There's something when I forget.
You missed the inaugural SIAC Indoor Championship, Bryan.
I did. I thought I mentioned it another time, but go ahead. What did I miss?
I think that was on another show.
Oh, okay. Probably so. Go ahead.
The fact that Morehouse won the inaugural SIAC Men's Indoor Championship, first time the SIAC has offered an indoor track championship, and Tuskegee won the Women's Indoor Track Championship. And for Morehouse is 2/3 of the way for the trifecta after having won the cross country championship back in the fall. No, Edwin, I actually ran track in high school.
That would be me running onto the track from the stands. That was just to maybe go get something off the field, though. And when that would have been
400, 4x4, and long jump, Edwin, were my main ones, and triple jump. But I qualified for state in the long jump. So
I can see that. Drew, a little skinny guy. He's the skinny guys.
Was on the 4x4 relay team.
All right, look at you. Okay, let's get into it because we're coming up on time. I'm looking at time. Let's kind of run through some of the things that are happening in the MEAC, SWAC, so on and so forth. Now, first of all, let's kind of start with the SWAC. Let's start with the SWAC, Drew. And I'm gonna, I don't know if those of you, if you guys are following me on X. I was feeling a little, I don't know what I was feeling, Drew. I don't know how to appropriately describe it. I was up early on Saturday morning and I said, you know what? I'm feeling good about it. It's March 1st. Let me start giving the people some winners, So I'm like, let me start doing some digging, do some research here. And I'm going to start giving people winners, Drew. That's what I like to try to do. I want to feed the people. I want the people to be fed. Because this is a great opportunity. It's a great month to be able to win. So I proceeded to break down all 6 games that played Saturday. Now, some people might say, Drew, that the key highlights from Saturday's men's action were number 1, Southern taking on, I think, number 3, Bethune-Cookman. Some people might say Texas Southern traveling to Jackson State. Some other folks were even excited to see Grambling traveling to Florida A&M. No, Drew, that's not what got my ears perked up. My ears perked up when I looked and saw the matchup between the 2 worst NCAA Division I men's team between UAPB and Mississippi Valley State. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Team 363 and 364. There are only 364 teams in NCAA Men's Division I. 363 versus 364, Drew. And I'm just going to quote from my tweet, right? And by the way, Drew, Valley was home. They were a 9.5-point underdog at home. Okay?
Right, can you quote yourself?
Can I what?
Can you legitimately quote yourself?
Yes, because I did that. I did quote. Yes, see, Twitter lets you quote yourself. So that's what I did. Hold on, I gotta find this tweet because
How you not know your own quote, man?
Huh?
How you not know your own quote?
Man, because it's a lot going on here. Because I recently I'm trying to find it here. Come on, if it won't pull up, doggone it. Because I had a great one-liner. I had a great line in this.
Edwin,
Okay,
we on the same page.
Here it is, huh?
I say me and Edwin on the same page.
Look, Edwin, I'm just pointing out because there's still action in this game, right? They play the games, the teams play to win. What? Hey, Edwin, all 12 of these teams are going to be in the tournament next year. So guess what? The two worst teams in Division-I are actually going to be in the tournament. Now, this year, we thankfully don't have to watch them play in Atlanta next week. But 2 years from now, guess what? I'm not saying it's going to be UAPB. I'm not saying it's going to be Valley. God forbid, maybe those teams can rise up. But whoever the 11th and 12th rated team is in the conference, they're going to get a shot at playing in the tournament next year. So, folks want that. Folks want student athletes to have an experience. Those students are probably ready to go on spring break. That's all I keep saying.
All right. So before you're going to get to your quote, but next Saturday, when they break the huddle, they will be saying 1, 2, 3 spring break.
Spring break. Exactly. 1, 2, 3 spring break.
Hey, how goes Bryan? Spring break on 3, spring break on B. 1, 2, 3 spring break.
That's exactly spring. That's exactly what's going to be going on right there for UAPB and Valley when they play that last game on Saturday. But here was my quote. I said, the only stat or trend you need to know is that these are the 2 lowest rated teams in NCAA Division-I basketball. And I said, quote, if you're wagering on this game, you need help. The last meeting between those 2 teams, Valley covered as a 13-point underdog on the road. They won by 3. My pick in this game, Drew, and I gave one of the emojis of the holding your hands over the face emoji, because this is one of those, they say this is one of those stinky plays. You just hold your nose and you just make the play. My pick was Valley plus 9.5. Oh my God, Drew, I'm so glad I didn't play this game. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm so glad I didn't play this game.
But you put it on wax, Bryan.
Huh?
You put it on wax.
I did, but I take the loss on it. I credit it when I look at when I recapped. I don't shy away from the fact that I did pick this game. I don't shy away from the fact that I put it out there in the public space. I did put a big X next to it because they got beat by 30-something, Drew. I think hold on, let me pull it up here. I got the in the notes here. They got beat by a final score of, hold on, I got it right here too. There it is. 83 to 58. Good God. So Valley will continue to be the worst team in Division-I basketball. I don't know whether that means UAPB jumps up from second to last to maybe third or fourth from last. I don't know. I don't know what that means when you beat the worst team. I don't know. You just
it definitely does not help your RPI.
It doesn't hurt you either though. So yeah, 83 to 58. Damn, I didn't see that one coming, Drew. I was so off on that. I will say I hit on a couple other good plays. Alabama A&M.
I'm glad you hit on something.
I did. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, the under 148.5. I almost lost that game because, as you can see, that game was really close. I mean, I did not expect Alabama State to boat race them by 42 points. Damn. Where was this Alabama A&M team that showed up and somehow beat Florida A&M by 11? A Florida A&M team, Drew, that FAMU had won 12 in a row, covered 12 games in a row. And A&M somehow showed up, woke up, and ended up winning by 11. They got beat by 42 points? What the hell? I was dead on about Jackson State. I had Jackson State minus 3.5. They took care of business at home against Texas Southern. I got some great intel on the Prairie View Alcorn game. Now, originally, I had written Prairie View plus 7.5, Drew. Then I saw, and this is why you have to pay attention, the line jumped from 7.5 to 10.5, Drew. When it moves 3 points in 2 to 3 hours, that's telling you something. Somebody knows something. And I had to make some calls. I had to get to Lorman. I had to get to Lorman, Mississippi, and figure out what is going on. My sources told me, they said, Alcorn is going to beat the brakes off Prairie View. I gave the 10.5 points winner chicken dinner, as you can see there. And then, of course, Bethune-Cookman plus 2.5. A great write-up that I had on that. That game, Drew, I also had the over 139.5, Drew. And you can look at that final score. And all I'm going to tell you is the score was 69-69 with about 12 seconds to play. And guess what? Bethune goes to the basket, fouled, goes to the free throw line, makes the first, intentionally misses the second. I want nothing but death and destruction for Bethune-Cookman the rest of their season. That cost me because I could have covered, Drew, if they'd have just made the free throw. I could have gone home with 2 wins. But thank you, Bethune-Cookman, for intentionally missing the second free throw, which cost me a half point. That's a bad. That qualifies as a bad.
Time out. You mad at Bethune-Cookman for making the basketball play?
I don't care about that.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yes. Make the free throw. Go up by 2 points. Yes.
So once again, you mad at Bethune-Cookman for doing the basketball play?
I am greedy, selfish of me. I know, very selfish of me. I admit it. Right here on the air, very selfish of me. Bethune did cover the 2.5 as a home dog. Yes, it was a smart game, smart play, Israel. Yes, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't make me feel comfortable. It doesn't make my wallet feel comfortable at all. Okay. And that's all I really care about at this point. Is me. I'm selfish like that right now. This is March. This is my time to win some games. And then also I had FAMU minus 1.5. So in all, Drew, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went 5 and I really went 5 and 2. But if you want to hold me to the Prairie View pick, and then switching sides, I'll take 5 and 3. But not a bad day. Not a bad day. Yeah. But here's what we got standings wise, Drew. After Southern loses that game, Southern is only leading. Hold on. I don't think the website is up to date. Is it? Nope. Yeah, the SWAC website is up to date now. Okay. Southern losing that ball game is now just 2 games ahead of Jackson State. And
with 3 to play, correct?
Yes, because they play Monday against FAMU, and then they have 2 games on Thursday and Saturday. So Southern's Thursday and Saturday games are Alabama State, Alabama A&M. Both of them are in Baton Rouge. I don't know which Alabama State and Alabama A&M game is going to show up. There's no telling. These two teams somehow look. Alabama State is currently 4th in the division. So that game, look, if FAMU owes Southern, if FAMU can beat Southern, that game against Alabama State is not going to be easy. Varick says Southern wins 1 game, they clinch. All right, well, all right, we'll see. Southern, let's see, is in first. Jackson
Southern has the tiebreak over Jackson, which is why they only need 1.
Oh, okay. All right, but it's crazy. Here's the thing. This is how good of a season Southern is having. I'm gonna put some respect on Southern right now. 2 losses, Drew. You know what the final margin in those 2 losses are?
2 points.
2 points total. 1 point loss to who'd you say who they lose to?
I didn't say.
Oh, okay. I thought you had said it. It was to Alabama State, who they got to play again. Okay, and then the 1 point loss to Bethune. That's it.
Well, Brian, let's put the Southern in a little bit different perspective, Brian.
Okay.
You do realize with 1 week left to play, Southern is the only team in the SWAC over 500.
That part right there. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there are 1, 2, 3 teams that can finish over 500, including our beloved Rattlers, along with Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State. But that's it. Those are the only teams that have a chance to finish at 500 or above for the regular season.
Also, within the top 6, teams 2 through 6, which is Jackson State, Bethune, Alabama State, FAMU, and Texas Southern, all have 10 conference wins, with at least all of them have at least 2 to 3 games left. Again, Monday, they play tomorrow night. Some teams will play Thursday. Everybody will play on Saturday.
And Alcorn also has the opportunity to get to number 10.
Exactly. I was going to point that out. So that's what we're looking. And so this seeding is so unpredictable. It's really going to be fascinating to watch how these last 2 to 3 games shake out.
So Brian, here's the thing. For positions 2 through 7,
yeah,
because that's what we're talking about, 2 through 7.
Right.
Who from the conference office is doing the math to figure out all these potential tiebreakers? Because there may be multiple tiebreakers before we get to Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a Monday morning question that I have to send to the VP of Communications for the SWAC.
And Brian, they honestly, they're probably not going to be doing this math until Friday, after the Thursday games are played.
But I would imagine they got to publish.
I mean, they've got it. They've got it. They may have something internally that goes out to the SWAC, but you definitely won't see anything public until Friday.
Yeah. So
the coaches may know something as early as tomorrow, or definitely before the Thursday games, but publicly, nothing will come out until Friday.
So by the looks of it, let me see. Bama State, so Bethune, Bama State, FAMU, and Texas Southern only have 2 games to play. That's Monday and Saturday. Southern has 3 games left. Jackson State has 3 games left. Alcorn has 3 left. So again, I'm just giving you the top 7 teams. So that's kind of how the standings work. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how it shakes out. Let's jump over, and I will. Those of you who are following me on X, I will put my write-up if you're interested in following along with me and seeing who I'm picking against the spread, over unders. I'll post that with enough time. I might work on it tonight and have it posted by noonish tomorrow. So that way, those of you who want to jump on and follow, we can go to. I did say Alabama State. Yeah, they've played 16 games thus far in conference. Yeah. So again, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Florida A&M, Texas Southern only have 2 games remaining on their schedule. That means they play Monday, and then they will play on Saturday. While Southern, Jackson State, Alcorn will all play Monday, then they will turn around and play Thursday, and then the season ends on Saturday for everyone. All right. Jumping over to the women's real quick. Women's results from last night. There you go. Women's results. All right, there. I'm going to put some shine on Dawn Thornton. And I'm going to eat a little crow. I don't do that often on this show. But I am going to eat a little crow. Earlier in the conference, season, I was kind of I was on the fence about, everybody's and what Coach Thornton was doing at Alabama A&M and all of that. But she just not only Alabama A&M with that 71-63 win over their rival, won their 20th game of the season. They are 20-8 overall, 13-3 in conference. It's the first 21 season for Alabama A&M since they became a Division-I program during the 99-2000 season. So again, of course, Alabama A&M had a storied history as a Division II school, and this is probably 25 years in the Division I level. It's their first 20-win season. I also think this might be Thornton's first 20-win season as well. And I think that crow is tasting a little like turkey right now. Turkey, Cajun season turkey. But I'll tell you what she has. That team is a gutty team. She's done a great job with them. They just find ways to win. I was going to say something, but I can't. If I say it, then I'm showing some favoritism. I'm just going to look at them for what they are, and they're a good ball club. They're a good ball club. They find ways, well coached, and Thornton had been getting a lot of praise from people, and the results just were never there. But I think what she has shown this year, it'll be interesting to see whether she actually wins Coach of the Year award. I think Southern's coach, name escapes me right at the moment. Southern is sitting one game in front of Alabama A&M with a 14-2 record. They snatched a victory from FAMU on Thursday. I watched that thing like 2 to 3 times. I still have no flipping idea how FAMU did not beat Southern on Thursday. But God bless Southern, man. Congratulations on that one. I still don't know how they won that game.
Hey, Bryan.
Carlos Funches, thank you. Carlos Funches, the head coach of Southern.
Yeah. What?
Women.
I'm with Edwin. No matter what it tastes like, Edwin and Bryan, put a little hot sauce on it and it'll go down fine.
Got some Tabasco, Drew.
Yeah. All right. But no, from what I've seen with SWAC, especially when it comes to Coach of the Year, Bryan, best record tends to get Coach of the Year. So, which means Southern would probably do a sweep with the Coach of the Year awards, which means boosters, go ahead and start the fundraiser so these coaches can get their bonus. Because you got now 1 or 2 coaches to pay.
This is why I think this is going to be a tight race, Drew, where you could very well have a co-coach of the year because of the voting. Because now, obviously, again, with the everybody has, Texas Southern has 1 game remaining. Texas Southern sits at 13-4 right now. Unless Southern loses their last 2 games, or Alabama A&M loses their last 2 games, that is the only way that Texas Southern can win the regular season or tie for the regular season. I think they're sitting at 13-4 in a position that they really can't help themselves. Now, with that said, though, Jackson State sits at 12-4. Jackson State, if they win their last 2 and Southern loses their last 2, they could end up in a tie. And that's assuming that Alabama A&M, who has 2 games. Yeah, exactly. They've got 2 games remaining against Grambling and Southern. Oh, my God. Saturday, Drew, get to the TV screens. Who's broadcasting this game on Saturday?
I was actually going to go down the whole schedule for you.
Go through the schedule. Hey, I think Varick, somebody tell me who's broadcasting that game on Saturday between Southern and Alabama A&M. That might be for the conference regular season title right there.
Right. Well, let's go down the SWAC schedule for this week. And let's start on the men's side on Monday. Games to note: Texas Southern and Alcorn at Alcorn. That's going to be a big game. I think Bethune-Cookman may have the toughest remaining schedule. They've got Grambling on Monday. Florida, well, let me take that back. The two Florida schools have the toughest schedule remaining.
Yes.
Florida A&M has Southern and Jackson State Prairie View. So, those are on the men's side. Now, let's go to Thursday where we'll have doubleheaders. Thursday games, and these are both men's and women's doubleheaders. Thursday games, Jackson State travels to UAPB. Alcorn travels to Valley. Alabama State to Southern. And Alabama A&M to Grambling. Those are going to be some interesting games. But the coup de grace of them all.
That's a game where you can't stumble on. If you stumble on Thursday, that's your fault. The winners should win those games on Thursday. The favorites should win those games on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know about, but on the men's side, Southern Alabama A&M. Alabama State. Southern Alabama State.
But
Southern only has 2 losses.
That's Thursday
no, that's
Saturday?
Thursday. That's Thursday.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Southern only has 2 losses, and that's one of them.
Spotlight game. That's your spotlight game.
That's the game on Thursday on the men's side.
Yeah.
All right. On Saturday.
Yeah.
Jackson State, Valley. Jackson State, both men and women. Alabama State, Grambling. That's going to be an interesting game on the men's side.
That's a seeding game. That's to stay out of. Watch me, Drew. That's to stay out of the 7 spot. That game right there.
Exactly. But anybody who 2 through 7 can all flip this weekend.
They can. Yes,
the team that's number 2 on the men's side could wind up playing as the number 7 by the time we get done with Saturday. Yep. It is that close. Let's see. It's a rival. Texas Southern, Prairie View.
Ooh, Prairie View is down right now. I don't know.
Prairie View is down, but it's a rival, Brian.
Okay. All right.
It's a rival game. Anything can happen in a rival game.
You're right.
Of course, you've got the Florida Classic on the hardwood. Florida A&M traveling to Bethune.
It's going to be a dog fight. It's going to be a
dog fight. At the beach. Dog fight at the beach. Alabama A&M Southern. I like that women's game.
Ooh, that's a tough ticket. That's the best ticket going right now, right there. That's
that game realistically should outdraw the men.
Yes, it should.
Yes, on the women's side. And then Alcorn, UAPB.
Yeah. No. Alcorn can't blow it. Just don't mess it up.
Just don't blow it.
Don't blow it.
Right. And then, of course, you've got the SWAC tournament coming up, opening up Tuesday.
So
Tuesday, excuse me.
I've seen I was just looking at the SWAC's the breakdown of the schedule. The schedule has been released for the tournament. Let me see. Again, starts March 11th through the 15th at hold on, let me pull it up here. Where are the games going to be at? What's the name of the stadium where they're playing at?
For the it's the Lord Jesus is at the airport. Lord,
I just had it.
Gateway.
Hold on. Gateway. Okay. Yeah. The games are being played. All right. You called it. I had it pulled up a second ago, and then I just lost it. I don't know. Gateway. Yep. G Boom says Gateway. All right. Gateway.
I said it 3 times.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Not that I didn't take your word for it. Okay. Yeah. Varick, thank you. I'm going to get to that in the question. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. So
I got just 2 letters.
Well, look. No. Wait a minute. But this is crazy, Drew. YTV. The games are being streamed on ESPN Plus. Okay. All of the games, okay, press release comes out. All of the games are set to stream live on ESPN Plus. Hello. I don't understand. It doesn't matter. You can schedule. those games can pop up on it. ESPN Plus is essentially the digital streaming arm. They don't, I mean, they're not programming.
Maybe, Brian.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. Let me finish. Go
ahead.
Maybe there's a situation similar to what we had at Forbes this weekend. Maybe there's another thing going on that evening.
No, I'm telling you guys, that is correct. Okay. The SWAC championship game, which is Saturday, March 15th, the Ides of March. Okay. The women's championship game is 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. You better hope it's Eastern time. Yeah, I know the SWAC is in Central Time Zone, but I'm hoping it's 5:30 Eastern. The men's championship starts at 9:30 p.m. I'm reading it dead as day right here on the SWAC website. Now, 9:30 p.m. Now, the night before the semifinals.
And you usually give 4 hours between games because of TV.
Yeah. Okay. Then ESPN Plus, Drew. Stop talking like this is not ESPN. This isn't ESPN2. This isn't programmed television. This is streaming. This is put it on whatever damn time you want to put it on.
But to have a solid start time on the championship game, you usually allow 3.5 to 4 hours. Because to allow your game, possible overtimes, cutting of the nets, all the on-court presentations, and the cleanup afterwards before you start the next game.
I don't see them very. Okay. Thank you, Varick. I was. You know what? I was getting emotional. Thank you, Varick. The game is on ESPNU. I didn't read the fine print, but the championship men's game is on ESPNU. The women's game is on ESPN Plus. The only game that is on ESPNU is the men's championship game, which they scheduled at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, enough ranting. Every game is on ESPN Plus except the men's championship game, which is on ESPNU. The opening round games start March 11th, where you have on the women's side the women's 11 the 7 versus the 10 seed matchup. And then the SWAC likes to go women, men. So on day one, it's the 7-10 for the women, followed up by the men's 8-9. Then at 5:30, almost as if they were doing 2 sessions, they do the 8-9 women, and then they do the 7-10 men at 8:30. All I'm going to tell you, these are going to be late nights. I don't know what y'all plan on doing after these games in Atlanta, but y'all going right to bed. Or at least the hotel lobby is going to be the place to be. I hope the bar stays open in the hotel lobby by the airport, because that is going to be the place to be after these late starting games, which don't start until 8:30 at night. Thank you. Travis says it is 2 sessions. So it's 2 sessions.
I'm going to hop on the bar and get there, or have somebody drop me off.
Hey, these games are so late, Drew. I might be able to get up there and catch them. I really wasn't expecting them to be this late, but I may be able to get on the bus or drive myself up there and be there in 7 hours and catch it. Anyway, I don't know. After this rant,
I guarantee you, FAMU there, you're going to make that ride.
Oh, if FAMU's there, I'm there. I may be there. I hope FAMU gets the 8 p.m. game, last game on Friday night. I will be there, by the way. Edwin, come on over. I'm getting old, Edwin. I am. After a long day of covering these games, I'm gonna walk right by the bar, ask for one quick shot, and I'm taking my ass right to bed. I ain't trying to talk to none of y'all in the lobby, in the bar. You see me, you say, "What up, B?" and I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna get less,
Can't be anti, Brian. You're a public figure. You can't be anti.
All right. So you say. It's Gidding. Yeah, I say Gidding, Travis. Gidding. That's right. Exactly the words I use. The 1 seeds for the women will play on the 12th So, okay, on the quarterfinal day, that's March 12th. That's quarterfinal day 1. Again, the 2 seed plays at 11 on the women's bracket. The 1 seed plays at 5:30. Then on day 2 for the men, the 1 seed get the 2 o'clock game. The 2 seed get the 8:30 game. Now, so the only thing I can see there with the scheduling, Drew, is that they have the 1 seeds playing in the middle of the day.
Maximum rest, Brian.
Is that what it is? Maximum rest? Okay.
Yes, because if your 1 seeds play earlier in the day, they get the maximum amount of rest before the next game.
Yeah.
And actually, that really doesn't play out until the championship round. Because usually, whatever your line is, you usually stay on that time slot throughout the rest of the tournament.
Now, day 2, the quarterfinals, is the 3-6 seed and the 4-5 for the women. And then on the men, you have the 4-5 and the 3-6. And so it's interesting that, Drew, they don't play them the same. Like the women are playing 3, like, you know what I'm saying? They're doing the flip thing. I don't know why. I don't know. I wonder if there's some science to that or what, but okay. The semifinals, that should be a great day of basketball. It starts at 11 a.m. Again, 11 a.m. to 5:30 and 8:30. So again, for the first 3 days of the tournament, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, those are the formats. You know, essentially it's 4 games each day. The start times are the same for the men and women. The only exception is on championship Saturday. The women starts at 5:30, broadcast on ESPN Plus. The men start at 9:30 p.m. on ESPNU. So I don't know. I've seen those flyers about somebody. Who was it? I saw a flyer. Somebody was promoting the Atlanta Knights or something. The Post. I don't know. Somebody was promoting some late night parties and festivities. Oh no,
Brian, it's Atlanta. It's not too hard to find one.
No, it's not. I'll tell you, I'm gonna be partying at the hotel. I tell you, the hotel is gonna be the best party. I don't know why you would want to go anywhere else. The hotels that are gonna be right there by the stadium is gonna be where all the action is going to be. I don't know why you would venture anywhere else. I don't need a car you don't even need a car that weekend, Drew. Everything you'll want to do is gonna be right there between getting to the airport, getting to the stadium, getting to the hotel. All right there.
And can I give you a couple of Atlanta hacks?
Please.
Number 1, ride the MARTA down there. Even if you have to park in a park and ride lot for the MARTA and to catch the MARTA down, catch the MARTA to the airport, catch the rental car shuttle back to the arena, you will save on parking versus having to go to the stadium and park.
Okay.
So
appreciate that.
That's the hack. Catch the MARTA catch the MARTA to the airport, and then catch the airport shuttle back to the hotels. And where the hotels are is where the arena is.
Yeah. Man. All right. How far away is the famous shoe model club? What is Edwin talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Edwin. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's get to this MEAC and get up out of here, Brian.
Yeah, let's get to the MEAC. All right. On the women's side from the MEAC, the recap from the other day, Maryland Eastern Shore 70-59, Norfolk State 88-57, Howard 75-51 over North Carolina Central, Coppin 73-59 over Dell State. The standings in the MEAC, very interesting, Drew. Norfolk State is unbeaten right now, 12-0. Howard is 11-1. Norfolk State is 25-4 overall. They've won 14 straight games. 14, Drew. Howard 18-9. They have won 8 straight. When I take a peek at the upcoming schedule, guess what we have on Thursday, Drew? Well, let's not look ahead because it's never good to look ahead. We got games coming up. Norfolk State and Howard are on the road at North Carolina Central and South Carolina State. I know there are some people who are high on Coppin State. They host Maryland Eastern Shore. But let's fast forward. Thursday night basketball, Drew. 5 o'clock in Burr Gymnasium in D.C. All eyes should be on Norfolk State at Howard. That is the game. That's the game, Drew. That game could quite well determine the regular season title. It could determine seeding, obviously. And if there's any thoughts on anybody being able to beat Norfolk State women, Howard would give himself a big boost and a good shot in the arm if they were able to pull that off, right?
There should be no thought of beating those.
What was the score the last time those teams played? I
think it was a double digit, like low double digits, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Like 14, 15, something like that.
I got a question I appreciate, I always love when Russell Haynes comes in. We always get a chance to talk MEAC. But those of you MEAC supporters, I got a question for you. And I posed this when I was on Doc's show Thursday. We understand that this is a one-bid league, right? As great a season as Norfolk State is having, are you nervous? I know the players are going to play, the coaches are going to coach, but as fans, as people who are watching this might be the best. I don't know if this is the best Norfolk State team to have ever laced up the shoes and stepped on the court, but if they are you nervous that all it takes is one bad quarter, a bad shooting day, a few extra turnovers for them to get knocked out of this tournament and they are not going to the NCAA?
Can I answer nervous? That? Oh.
Drew. I see A.D. Drew in the back. What do you, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes. Do I need to give an explanation, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Please explain.
Jackson State 2 years ago.
But I heard that wasn't a Jackson State team. That was a juggernaut, though. That's what I was told.
The year Southern beat them?
That's what I was told.
They had won how many conference games in a row?
They had won a lot. They had won like 40-something. I feel like 30-something.
And no offense. And they had been, a double 14 the year before that? They had risen as high as a double 14 the year before that? Back when Amisha Williams-Holiday was on the team, they were a double 14 seed. And then they came in, had a stellar season. I believe they were undefeated also at that point in time. And yeah, I'm nervous because what did Jackson State go to? The 3-letter tournament instead of the 4-letter tournament.
Yeah,
that being the NIT.
And see, there's thoughts that people want them to be a 12 seed.
Y'all need to stop smoking dope before y'all watch this podcast.
It could happen. I don't think it will.
It could happen. I could hit the lottery, Brian.
Drew, you're such a pessimist.
But hold up. And no disrespect to Norfolk State because they are having a tremendous year. A&T will, if A&T wins the CAA, A&T will have a better seed than Norfolk State.
Because of the conference.
Because of the strength of the conference.
Conference rankings.
A&T will have a better seed. Should both of them get in. And let's not sleep on Southern either.
A&T's in a
Southern has had a good season on the women's side.
They have two.
But of the 3 teams right now that will go into their conference tournament, potentially as the number 1 seeds, should they win their conference tournament, A&T will have the best seed out of the 3, and probably Southern despite what y'all want to say, is more likely to play in the play-in game than not.
Because of the conference standings.
Because of the conference record.
Conference,
conference
rating.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it play-in. It's the first four.
First four, yeah. But I mean, that exactly. And A&T, I think they will have a tougher conference tournament than Norfolk State and Southern, in my opinion. Actually, I'm going to say A&T will have a tougher conference tournament than Southern. I mean, if I had to rank them, I would say A&T's got the toughest conference road in their tournament, followed by Southern, and then followed by Norfolk State.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the regular season, Lawrence. I'm talking about the conference.
But it matters for seeding, though.
It does matter
in the tournament, which A&T,
but
even though they lost,
you're gonna have to. At tournament time, you're gonna have to play the best of the best anyway. Very rarely do the brackets fall in your favor after round one anyway.
Right.
Because even though statistically you may be going up against a team, we know how some teams just match up stylistically well with other teams.
Right. You just mentioned Lawrence just mentioned A&T losing to Elon. They lost to Elon by 1 point on the road today, 70-69. The final two games, they still have a 1-game lead, though. They have a 1-game lead in the CAA conference standings. They play Thursday night against William and Mary. William and Mary, a team that they beat by 23 points. The last time they played them, that was on the road. The game is at the Corbett Sports Center, so it is a home game for A&T. And then the very interesting senior night game on Saturday against UNC Wilmington. They just played them on Friday night. They only won by 3 points on the road. They host them at home. So the Lady Aggies have a chance to close out the tournament. So, I mean, wow, talk about some great basketball up ahead, not only for the Southern women, but for A&T and in Norfolk. Lawrence says A&T holds the tiebreaker over Charleston and Drexel. So they just need – so essentially, Lawrence, it sounds like all they have to do is win against William and Mary on Thursday to wrap up at least a share of the conference title. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Let me hold on before we switch to men. I got to give a shout out here to Diamond Johnson, the young lady, grad student, the guard for Norfolk State. In that contest against South Carolina State, she surpassed the 2,000 career point mark. She scored 20 points, had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. She is, let me see. She's the only active Division-I player with at least 2,000 points, 600 rebounds, 390 assists, and 300 steals.
But you know they stretch when they drop that number to 390, Brian. I was waiting on a nice even 400, 450, or 350.
But she very well.
That's such an odd number for
she could look. Let's just give her 2 games. If she gets 5 assists in each of these last 2 games, she'll surpass that number.
With 3 games because you first round of the tournament. So you got 3 games.
Do they count the conference tournaments in these stats?
Yeah, your stats.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she could end up being the only active player with 2,000, 600, 400, 300. Which, those are the kind of things that at least should get you at least second or third team All-American numbers, right? I would think she should get nationally. She should get some love on a national level. I don't know how many other women at Norfolk State's career have scored 2,000 points. I don't know in the MEAC how many other have scored. I know it's happened before, I think, but that's a tremendous feat for Diamond. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is a man.
Yeah. Going back to the BAC, Bryan, BAC
Yes.
championship is set for March 15th at 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus and will re-air on ESPNU on Sunday, March 16th at 8 a.m. That's 7 o'clock Central Time, y'all. And the women's championship is being played after the men's championship because the men's championship is being played at 1 o'clock that day for television purposes. And that game will be on the Deuce, ESPN 2 at 1 o'clock Eastern.
And the reason I say that's ridiculous, go look at the scheduling. It's happened each of these last couple of years, Drew.
Do you want me to give it to you?
Yeah, because somebody's playing Friday night.
Somebody's.
Oh my God. Both men's team are playing Friday night?
6 and 8.
Oh, Jesus, man. What are you doing, Miak? What are you doing?
6
less
and 8.
than 12. You're going to ask these teams to turn around in less than 12 hours?
Whereas the women play at 12 and 2.
Holy cow. And I understand Friday night for the MEAC tournament is a big thing, but damn. And then you sell your soul to be on TV at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What are we doing? What are we doing to these teams? I don't know. I know the coaches are going to coach, players are going to play. Nobody's going to, I don't know.
Bryan,
I don't know.
It's no different than playing an 8 o'clock game on a Tuesday, on a Monday night, and having to be in 8 o'clock class on Tuesday morning, and you're on the road after a long bus ride. Actually, it's probably easier because you're going straight to the hotel.
All right, I'm gonna let you have that perspective. Okay.
They just got to go get the code to Friday night. Somebody's gonna have to go down to 7-Eleven and go get a whole bunch of bags of ice, and they're gonna have to throw them in the tub in the hotel room.
All right. Let's jump over to the men, because in the men we had the big game, and the big upset came in Orangeburg, South Carolina, as South Carolina State held off Norfolk State. Prevented Norfolk State from claiming their 5th MEAC regular season title under Coach Robert Jones, as they defeated Norfolk State 91-88. Norfolk State's Brian Moore Jr. had 27 points on 10 of 15, 10 of 13 from the field. The bench scoring for South Carolina State, which, get this, Drew, ranks 3rd in the nation. They got 20 points. I don't know if Drayton Jones is coming off the bench or not. He had 20 points for South Carolina State. But South Carolina State comes away with the victory, 91-88. Also of interesting note, on senior night, North Carolina Central defeats Howard 72-68. All I kept hearing is, people kind of questioning or wondering, not that Coach Lavelle Moulton's job is in jeopardy or that he's on the hot seat, but I mean, I don't know. People are asking. North Carolina Central is not having the kind of season that we've come accustomed to having. But with that win by South Carolina State, they move within a game of Norfolk State, who is now 10-2 in conference. South Carolina State is 9-3. Essentially, it's a 2-team race between Norfolk State and South Carolina State. As we take a look at the schedules here at the end of the season, South Carolina State hosts Howard on Monday, tomorrow. So that'll be a big game in Orangeburg. North Carolina Central will host Norfolk State. That game will be on ESPN Plus at 7:30. Then on Thursday, Norfolk State will travel to Howard, and South Carolina State will host Central. So, Drew, I ask you, South Carolina State, Norfolk State. Norfolk State's on the road for the last 2 games. which now actually will be 3 straight for Norfolk State because obviously they, just played this game on Saturday. Can South Carolina State tie it up? All they need is Norfolk State to lose one of these last 2 games to Central or Howard, and then they just got to hold off their 2 opponents, Howard and Central. So it's almost, these 2 teams playing each other. What's your thoughts? How do you think this could fare out?
I mean, it's really going to be interesting. I think I find it more interesting that nobody's playing on Saturday. They gave them Saturday off before the tournament. So when you think about it, Brian, these teams will almost have a whole week off before they head to the scope.
Well, and I think part of that is the advantage of only having
8 teams.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage of having 8 teams. I think, wasn't there even a week when nobody played in the MEAC?
Yeah, I think it was like the week of King Day.
Yeah, so they can, in essence, if you look at an 8-team conference versus a 12-team conference, you do get 2 days that you can almost take off. You could take that mid-season break, which would have been about the King holiday, and then, of course, you could say, oh, we're not going to play that last Saturday of the regular season to give everybody a few extra days rest. So, advantage MEAC.
We shall see.
We shall see. All right. I think we've hit all of the news and notes in the basketball world. And all the conferences that are tournaments that are coming up over the next couple of days, the ones that are starting. And then we will do a show next Saturday and really focus more so on the MEAC and SWAC matchups.
You mean next Sunday?
I'm sorry, next Sunday, because we can do a MEAC.
Unless Morehouse is in the championship game, then I may ask you to come on with me Saturday.
Okay. All right. Well, no, I might even be able to come up. Who knows?
Hey, come on up.
I might be able to come up. Oh yeah, hold on. The OVC tournament. Thank you. OVC tournament starts this week. Thank you for reminding me. Let me see. The OVC tournament. Okay. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Lawrence. Presented by United Fidelity Bank. Excuse me. Let me see. Let me get to the brackets here. I do know Tennessee State, who, by the way, wore the most god-awful looking uniforms on Saturday. I'm sorry. I just had to say it.
You had to say it, huh?
I had to say it. I'm sorry. They were ugly. All right. The men's bracket. Tennessee State is the 3 seed. They will play on Thursday, March 6th, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus against the winner of the Lindenwood versus Morehead State game. Now, I love what the Ohio Valley Conference does, Drew. They give the 1 and 2 seeds a double bye. They advance them right to the semifinals. Then they put the 3 and 4 seed in the quarterfinals.
Single bye.
And then they make everybody else 5, 6, 7, and 8 play the opening round games on Wednesday.
Almost like the SEC format.
Yes, but just only 8 teams. Now, so I don't know, you got to go doing the history about advantage, disadvantage, how many teams have advanced. I don't know how many years, any ideas how many years they've been doing this? I don't know, maybe, hey, check out Wednesday's show. Dr. Cavill's Indie Report with Dave, Brandon, and Jeff. Brandon King, I'm gonna have to send him a text and tell Brandon, give us some history on the OVC tournament and how many teams have come from the 3 seed spot with the single bye, and how many teams out of the double bye have won the Ohio Valley. Because again, Tennessee State with the single bye as the 3 seed, which I know that is what everybody, if you couldn't get the double bye, you definitely wanted the single bye. Let me look over on the women's bracket for the OVC. Again, being played in Evansville, Indiana at the Ford Center, which Evansville is essentially southern Indiana, just across the river from Louisville. Tennessee State's women, they are the 8 seed. So they will play their first game on Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus against Southern Indiana. Should they win that game, they will then play again at 12:30 against the number 4 seed Little Rock. The winner of that game plays the number 1 seed Tennessee Tech in the semifinals on Friday. So,
yeah. Update in the HBCU AC, Brian. Halftime, Dillard 34, Philander Smith 33.
Ooh, okay. So it gives us a chance to log off and gives you a chance to jump on over to HBCU Plus and go watch the second half of the HBCU AC championship game between Philander Smith and Dillard. Should be a good game. Edwin says, should they stay in Louisville? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. I've never been to Evansville. I've never been to Evansville, but I'm sure there will be some people staying in Louisville. Might even be some people staying in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is, I hear, is a nice area as well. But not saying Evansville is not, but it is what it is. If you're looking for people, if you're looking for places, but good luck to Tennessee State. Maybe when we come on next Sunday, we'll do a big, extensive look ahead at the teams that have won. Hopefully, we'll have some more champions to talk about. We'll definitely be breaking down the SIAC championship, which again, the championship game is on Saturday. What times, Drew?
1 and 4:30.
Afternoon games, 1 and 4:30. Okay.
Yes. And yes, make sure those of you are coming to Atlanta, definitely come by the house and check out the championship games. Tournament begins Wednesday in earnest. And for the events that are going on surrounding the SIAC tournament, go to www.siacatl.com to find out about all the parties and all the official parties, because we know there's going to be other parties going on, Brian. But the official parties and events surrounding the SIAC basketball tournament. Especially if you're coming in for the SWAC and you're coming in early, holler at us on next Saturday.
Right. I just saw the note there. Put that last note up on the board again. The one about the Hampton tournament. Jesus. Okay. So I didn't even know the CAA men's schedule was out, but it is out. Yeah, am I looking at the right one? Yeah. Okay. Hampton, wait a minute. What did he just say? Hampton plays when? Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it. Friday, March 7th, North Carolina A&T, the 14 seed. There's only 14 teams in the conference, folks. They play at 4:30 on Friday, March 7th. The winner of that game plays Monmouth on Saturday. Hampton, the 10 seed, plays, I don't know what that mascot is. Jesus help me. They play at 6 p.m. on Saturday, March 8th. I will tell you this, for those of you who are interested, pay attention to the line on that Hampton game. Northeastern. I think it's Northeastern.
Yeah, I would say Spencer says it's Northeastern. So.
Okay, I just had to look at the logo. It took me a second. I you know what? If I had a trivia contest that asked me to match a mascot up with a school name, I think I would do pretty well. It's crazy how my mind works. But anyway, Hampton, a covering machine of late. So yeah, you make sure you're following me. I'm gonna have some good plays for you this weekend. DRB365 is where you can find me on X. I'm going to lay out some good information for the MEAC and SWAC tomorrow. So for those of you who are interested and want to follow along and win some money, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Hey, another thing. One last thing, Drew. My last thing, and then we can get out. I am working on putting together a SWAC basketball bracket contest. I got to figure out the particulars, but I'm going to work on, I think it'll be fascinating, even to do a women and a men's bracket challenge contest. So once we know, figure it all out, once we know the teams, and I'm even going to put in the lower seeded teams, Drew. So all 10 teams, okay? I'm not just going to wait till the quarterfinals. I'm going to give some poor sucker out there who thinks their team can come from out of the 7, 8, 9, 10 spot.
Texas Southern.
I do on the women's side. I think our women, I think FAMU's women are going to be that team that nobody wants to play. Okay, I'm just saying. And we're going to be one of those 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds. I don't know which one, but we're going to be one of them. We're just going to be hell for somebody. But yeah, so I'm teasing that now. So be on the lookout next week. SWAC basketball tournament bracket contest with BCSN is coming next Sunday. Excuse me. All right.
I can't get any love, Brian.
It's so chalky though, Drew. It's like I don't think anybody's gonna be. I mean, really, do y'all want to? If y'all want me to do a MEAC tournament, y'all tweet me and let me know. If I don't get anybody that tweets me saying, "Yeah, B, you need to do a MEAC bracket contest," I just don't think there's gonna be any interest. I think it's gonna be so chalky, so Norfolk State chalk heavy. I just don't. I don't know, Drew. Maybe we'll see. There you go. All right, Edwin. Get ready for that disappointment tomorrow, buddy. It's coming. All right. Any final thoughts or reminders you want to give people, Drew?
Once again,
you already gave them.
Yeah, I already did it. SIAC tournament next week.
All right. Wow, I love this time of year, man. We just did a whole show talking about if nobody else, Russell Haynes he'll join. Russell, I'm gonna have you be our chief MEAC recruiter, Russell. I need you to get you and Lennon Blow. I think y'all the only two regulars who come on that want to talk about MEAC basketball or whatever. So maybe you guys can help drum up the interest. If I put it together, I gotta have some interest, Russell. Because I don't know. I'm just gonna put Norfolk State and just kind of keep going down the line, but whatever. Yeah, we'll see. But do us a favor, guys. Hey, go share the show. Remind people where we are on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on all these platforms, YouTube. Of course, the YouTube channel is MyJBN Online, the Black College Sports Network, MyBCSN 1 on all those feeds. And then go check out the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen to podcast. BCSN Pod Zone. iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and so forth. All right. That's going to do it for tonight. Congratulations to those champions who have won. Good luck to those who are still playing or about to start their tournaments. And we hope that you all are in the madness of March and that you are as jazzed up and excited about basketball as we are. For A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Thanks for watching the BCSN Sports Wrap tonight. We will see you next Sunday night. And peace out.
Travel light, everybody. Wahala.